to Armen now. Armen, how do you think that Emmanuel Macron's press conference, whatever he announces in his press conference, might affect the future of Europe's presence in the Sahel?
Well, the point about this is that this press conference is that, they've had this meeting at the French presidential palace last night. So they've been talking about coordinating everything that they want to do together. When I say they, that means France, the European Union, and these African heads of state that will be speaking as well, of Ghana and Senegal. And the idea is not to appear that France is somehow acting on its own. France, for a long time, has been trying to give the impression that it is putting a multilateral approach, that it's taking a multilateral approach to this security problem in the Sahel. And it doesn't want to be seen as, somehow blowing up efforts to combat jihadists just because it has a political problem with Mali. And that's why the French president met several African leaders last night at the French presidential palace as well. We've just heard from, again, this joint communique that there will be the political and military consultations have begun with France's partners in order to set out the terms for this withdrawal by June 2022. So that suggests that it's not going to be a very quick process, that it will take 6 to 8 months, and that's sort of what the Elysee was already hinting at yesterday. But we are expecting France to act in absolute lockstep with European Union countries that have a military presence in Mali as well. And indeed, yesterday, the head of the EU foreign policy chief, Josep Borrell, on French radio was saying that, was very much echoing the French government's language that, we won't leave Mali straight away, but if we're not welcome, we won't stay there. So clearly, this is going to be a very closely coordinated withdrawal between France and EU countries.
And Armen, speaking of the coordination between France and other EU countries, we've heard Dave Keating in Brussels talk about it briefly, but let's not forget, of course, that this announcement, this communiqué, is being made in the context of that EU-Africa summit, which is due to start later Thursday. What are the issues there?
Well, the EU-Africa summit is really focusing, I think, on the broader sort of geostrategic, the big political issues such as climate change, vaccination, and so forth. Security, of course, is relevant because, as I was saying, this spillover from the Sahel is affecting an increasing number of countries. You've also got instability as a result of militants in Nigeria. There's all kinds of security issues. There's questions to be addressed about the future of democratic transitions after these coups that we've seen recently in Mali and Burkina Faso, but also stalled transitions in other African countries. But above all, I think a desire to reset the EU's relationships with the African Union in general, because of increasing Chinese influence in Africa and the fact that African countries have expressed a certain sort of level of neglect, if you will, through EU vaccines not being delivered in great quantities, and therefore that there is a kind of opening, in a sense, for China. And we've seen also an opening for Russia, for example, in Mali and other African countries as well. So I think the EU in the summit will be looking to avoid losing more influence to China and Russia, particularly to China, I think.
And Armen, so just as we continue to await the French president with that press conference, can you give us a reminder of the timeline, not only of French but also European presence there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got a graphic, actually, that we can show you about Operation Barkhane. So this actually started as Operation Serval in January 2013. So that marked the beginning of French military intervention in Mali at the request, it should be stressed, of the Malian government. Operation Serval morphed into Operation Barkhane in July 2014 with a heavy French participation, 4,300 soldiers. But not only in Mali, they were also active in other G5 Sahel countries, but a big part of them were stationed in Mali. France has lost 53 soldiers in this operation over the past 9 years, and this has obviously contributed to a sense of sadness and anger among the French political elites when the Malian junta accused France of abandoning Mali. And that final point, let's bring you the graphic back because this is important. 14 European partners as part of Operation Takuba. And this is the this EU administered, if you will, or coordinated, I should say. It's not administered by the EU. I'm sorry. It's coordinated through Brussels, but it is actually individual EU countries that make a decision as to whether they stay in Mali or not. But the noises that we've heard recently, for example, from the Estonian defense minister, is that it's increasingly impossible to stay. The political climate is simply not conducive to, for example, the Estonian contingent staying. The Danish contingent was already, of course, asked to leave by the Malian junta. So as time goes by, it does seem like an increasingly untenable political climate for other EU member states to stay in Mali. So this is why France and its European partners are coordinating this withdrawal very closely, which, as I said, Aaron, will happen over the next 6 to 8 months. And that's been confirmed by this communique from the Elysee Palace, which we're now getting some elements of.